Hey guys, welcome to the BeatFeet social channels. My name is Niku and I'm super excited this evening to introduce you to our amazing revolutionary new product called BeatFeet Pro. Now, prior to the existence of this wonderful machine, there is obviously a lot of people that are and have been interested in adding some percussion to their playing, if they're a guitar player or maybe a piano player. But there is obviously a great deal of interest for products like these. And up until now, these were kind of your options. It was one of these or one of these. Now, not that these products aren't great products, but they are obviously very limited in terms of what you can pull off and what you can do musically with them. So over the years, I've tried many different approaches myself. I used to actually take my electric kit apart and take my hi-hat pedal and take the kick pedal along to gigs, and as well as the drum module, but I was still limited to only having a kick and a snare. And therefore, I'm just super proud, and I just want to give you a quick little run through of BeatFeet Pro and all the wonderful features that this board has got. So without further ado, let's dive in and let's see how this guy works. All right, so as you can see, this board is, this instrument is already in a case. So you fold this thing up and you're ready to go to a gig. So suitcase kind of looks like that. Very cool design. So once we've opened up the board, looks a little something like that. We're going to hook up power with a figure of 8. So this is just powered by your standard 220 volt socket. We're going to switch the board on. The moment when we do that, you'll see it'll start cycling through all the different pre-programmed LED colors that come with the board. Now, this just obviously indicates that we've got power. The lights are on, ESCOM's doing its job, and it'll keep cycling through the different colors like this until we connect the board. So next up, let's just have a look at how simple that is. All right, so the board is started up and we are ready to go. We've got this fantastic software. Can't take credit for that. This is from a third-party developer. It's called Drumney 3D. And what's cool about this, I'm using a Mac at the moment, but this is available on the computer and iOS devices. It's also available on Android. But there are many different options, which we'll cover in future videos. But for now, I've absolutely fallen in love with this app because it sounds absolutely amazing and it's very simple to do. So what we're going to be doing is we're just going to click right over there. You all know that symbol. We're just going to look for MIDI setup and connect to Bluetooth LE, because BeatFeet does not come with its own preloaded sounds. We decided to put that power in your hands. So because there are so many options, a lot of them are free, and there are obviously some paid options which sound absolutely amazing. But therefore, the power is in your hands, and you are not limited to whatever we thought sounds good. You got the power. All right, so we're going to connect there, BeatFeet Pro. And there we go. Simple as that. Connected. So from here, we could just go back. And there is our drums ready to rock and roll. Now, just a quick little note on this this app. We've got a bunch of different drum kits loaded in here, from modern, vintage, funky pop, a lot of metal sounding drum kits for those guys who like to head bang, some jazzy kits, and even some electro and dubstep. And some of these kits are quite a lot of fun to play around with. So that is how simple it is to connect the board. Now, next up, let us get back to the board and see what has happened on that side of things. All right, so now we've got our board connected. one thing that you'll see is it's no longer flashing colors. It's now turned solid, and whatever color it's on at the time of connection, that's the color that it would end up being on. So just very, very quickly, I just want to show you some of the coolest features about this board. So we've obviously got 8 pads. Quickly, kick and crash on pad 1, open hi-hat on pad 2, closed hi-hat pad 3, pad 4 is a tom, pad 5 is a side stick snare, pad 6 is primary snare, 7 is our kick drum, and then 8 is a secondary snare should you wish to do some snare rolls. But now quickly, just some of the really cool features. This board is fully customizable. I'm just using the control interface. It's on my phone. You can set it up on any device, your phone, laptop. It really doesn't matter. But let's say, for instance, let's take our open hi-hat pad here. Let's say we wanted to change that to a different sound. Let's say we want to make it to a snare. So I'm just going to go into the control interface here and select snare on that pad. Now magically it has become a snare. So the board is fully customizable. Another very cool feature here is you could add a secondary sound to each pad. Like for instance, I like to sometimes add a tambourine on top of my hi-hat. And there we go. You could also place this on for instance, another cool idea is with the secondary sounds is you could perhaps place a hi-hat on your kick and a hi-hat on your snare. And then this way you could, let me actually just quickly do that. Let's put in a hi-hat here on our snare and on our kick. Closed hi-hat on the kick, closed hi-hat on the snare. There we go. Now you can just fill in the gaps with your other hi-hat. So that is a very cool feature that one can employ or use with the dual trigger sounds. All right, now I just want to jump into some of the really cool features about this board. Don't want to make this video too long. All right, and one of the coolest features here is what we call assistive play. So when I was playing in the little intro video, I was playing in manual mode, so I've got to do the hi-hat with my toe. But when you play using assistive play, it'll track your kick and your crash pads, and then it'll fill in an 1/8 note or a 1/4 note pattern for you automatically. Let me demonstrate that quickly. So I'm just going to be playing on the kick and the snare here. And then I've assigned pad 1 to end the pattern completely, which happens to be a kick and a crash sound. You can assign any pad on the board to stop the pattern, but there's even more. So the other thing that we could do is we could toggle between hi-hat and ride sounds, and there's another pad, any pad on the board you can assign to do that job. While playing hands-free, you can switch from hi-hat sounds to ride sounds. Let me quickly demonstrate that. And then ending the pattern there again. You could also force the board into 16th note patterns like this. This is quite a cool feature. So that's another feature that you can do, and all you have to do there is immediately after the first beat, you just hit a hi-hat immediately afterwards, and then it'll go into 16th note mode. So you got a bunch of different time signatures that you can play in. Currently, I was just playing in 4/4, but there is 3/4 and 6/8 options. But just for the sake of keeping this video a little bit shorter, I'm not going to go into all of that. I just want to show you one more cool feature about this. Actually, before we get to that, obviously the LEDs on board we can control that. Red, green, blue, it's like some kind of pink, orange, beautiful light blue. There's another pink, purple, and then if you're feeling very colorful, you could even do a rainbow option. I happen to like the green or the blue. All right, and then the last cool feature that I quickly want to cover in this video is our built-in looper. So if you are perhaps a guitarist or an artist that likes to do loops, because you're using your feet, and often you do need your feet for recording loops, we've integrated a cool function that if you momentarily need to free up your feet to get to your looper and do some overdubs or start or stop your looper, we've integrated a little looper here that you can play, a couple of bars, 4 bars or whatever. Let me demonstrate with a simple beat. Here we go. And you'll see once you enable or engage the looper, pads will turn red, shows you it's ready for recording. It'll be red when you record, and then if you hit whichever pad, once again, I've assigned pad 1 to be the start and the end of the loop. But if you happen to, what was I about to say? If you go into playback mode, the color just changes green, just so that you know what's going on the board. And that is pretty much BeatFeet Pro in a nutshell. There'll be a lot more content coming up, so please do subscribe to this channel or like this page, depending on where you're watching this from, just to stay in the loop. Lots of videos, lots more explainer videos, and showing all the different kinds of options, sound options that you've got at your disposal. This video has just been extremely brief, and should you be interested in one of these boards, do check out the link in the description, whether it's YouTube or wherever, there'll be a link. They are currently on a launch sale, so you can pick one up for an absolute steal for such a magnificent piece of equipment. Anyway, thanks for your time. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll check you again soon.